Thank you so much. I appreciate all your support. Absolutely. We'll keep working on it.
Yes.
We'll get something done.
You have item 5, AB 1084.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Well, all the teachers shouldn't leave because they like this one. I present to you AB 1084, which ensures that California tax dollars are actually invested in children's education in the classroom.
Okay, we'll hold until, just hang on for a second until there's more exiting in the room. Okay, thank you.
And so the point of this bill really is to ensure that California taxpayer dollars that go into education are actually invested directly in a child's education and not in Wall Street wallets. The issue before us today is the idea of the for-profit online charter school. The measure declares, AB 1084, that an online charter school shall not be owned or operated by a for-profit entity. In addition, the bill draws a bright line on where it is appropriate for online charter schools to contract with other for-profit corporations. Charter schools receive funding from the state of California to educate their students. It is an inherent conflict of interest for a charter school to be operated by a for-profit entity or contract with for-profit entities for instructional services. And by that, I mean teachers. As the analysis queries, it can provide a perverse incentive for schools to prioritize profits over students. And one reason this issue caught my eye was because for 3 years I was chair of the Education Budget Subcommittee when we were dealing with our for-profit universities. We are still dealing with our for-profit universities. And we are trying to clean up and clean up and clean up. And what my bill says is, let's just agree they don't belong here in California unless on a very limited basis of providing certain services that otherwise could not be had. Taxpayer dollars should be focused on academic services and improving the educational experience of California students, not paying shareholders. The San Jose Mercury News recently ran a series of articles describing the abuses of for-profits and de facto for-profit online charter schools and the damaging impact that these schools have had on students. Fewer than half of the students who start an online high school program actually earn their diploma. We have seen cases where a for-profit corporation selects charter school board members, runs board meetings, and signs the school's tax returns. We've seen cases where the for-profit corporation charges schools more money than is in the school budget and then awards credits in a tax evasion scheme. This issue has risen to a critical point where the legislature must act. Superintendent Tom Torlakson just announced an audit of a company called K-12, Inc., to ensure that state tax dollars are well spent. And this committee will hold an informational hearing as well. We also know that a controller, Betty Yee, is the one who's going to actually be running this audit. It's going to cost us $300,000, but I am so happy to know that they are going to dig into the details and make sure that our taxpayer dollars are not being misspent. AB 1084 is a similar measure to one that many of you supported last year, but that was vetoed by the governor. We are trying to address the governor's veto message with this bill. By providing more clarity on what cannot be provided by a for-profit entity. And by that we mean teachers should not be provided by a for-profit entity. The analysis questions the term of instructional services as too vague. Going forward, I'm happy to define instructional services as the teaching of students. I have with me today Stacy Preach, a former California Virtual Academy educator, and parent Leslie Kerr. Do I have them here? Here, an educator at the Creative Arts Charter School in San Francisco, to speak on behalf of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. In support of the bill. Please.
Seth,
Hello, Madam Chair. Seth Bramble here on behalf of the California Teachers Association. We support Assembly Bill 1084, great policy, good for kids. Thank you, Assembly Member. This bill is, as the Assembly Member mentioned, very similar to a bill we co-sponsored, Assembly Bill 787 by Assembly Member Hernandez, that sought to prohibit a charter school from operating as a for-profit corporation. It is a little more refined, as the Assembly Member mentioned, so as to meet the governor's request in his veto message for a little more specificity. The author also mentioned audits by the state superintendent and California state controller. I would mention also that the Attorney General also is looking into some of the practices at California Virtual Academy, which is the largest operation of K-12 incorporated in the state of California. At CAVA, their classes have been rejected by the UC and CSU systems, meaning their students are not eligible to apply to these schools, and the NCAA will not accept their coursework. The teachers at CAVA have been fighting for change from the inside, but some guidance today by the legislature could help catalyze that change, not just for CAVA, but for any publicly funded school that puts profits before student success. CTA now represents more than 5,000 charter school educators. They've come to the Capitol to share their stories from their classrooms. They're powerful stories. They speak to a need for accountability and for transparency in the charter school environment. They speak of the misuse of tax dollars, and I'm especially empowered by their bravery in coming forward to try and change the conditions of learning by tapping into the power of the labor movement. 2 charter school educators are here to testify, and I would ask you to listen well to their stories as you consider this policy. They're on the front lines, and if we are serious about every child's future, we have to ensure teachers have the resources to help children succeed in school and in life. If those resources are redirected away from the classroom, students suffer. We ask for your aye vote today.
Thank you. In support of the bill.
Madam Chair and Senators, my name is Stacy Preach. I am a former teacher and parent at California Virtual Academies, an online charter school with about 700 teachers and over 15,000 students statewide. CAVA chooses not to hire clerical staff as found in a traditional school, instead forcing credentialed instructors to do clerical duties. As CAVA teachers, 80 to 90% of the work week is consumed with paperwork, leaving teachers just a few hours per week for instructional time for students. These clerical duties prevent teachers from teaching and prevent students from learning. This is not a good model. AB 1084 is not about removing choice for families. This proposal is about ensuring that choices parents have are high-quality choices and that they are choosing publicly funded schools committed to the success of every student. In 2014, CAVA teachers voted to unionize because we knew we could do better to improve educational outcomes for students, and as teachers, we have the responsibility to transform CAVA into a place where kids can thrive. A big part of our unionizing effort was keeping tax dollars in the classroom. Tax dollars meant for kids should go to the classroom, and students must be the center of everything we are doing. We are speaking with a collective voice and acting together to shift money that is currently going out of state to corporate headquarters in Virginia, to shareholders, and fighting to redirect the money into California classrooms. This is not about shutting down a school. You will hear the opposition tell you that they cannot operate if this bill is passed. But this is simply not true. They will just have to change the way they operate. They will have to focus on students and not profit. There are many successful charter schools run by nonprofit benefit corporations. Again, this bill will not force a school to close. It will force a school to change their priorities. Conflicts of interest are more likely when the focus is on money and not on educating kids. For example, CAVA's head of schools is an employee of K-12 Inc. Time is of the essence. We need the changes in AB 1084 now. Charter school educators are asking you to help us transform CAVA from an enrollment factory that piles up the money to a place that supports teachers, children, parents, and the community. Help charter school educators. Everything we do for the students. Or, I'm sorry, everything we do for the students. Please help us by passing this bill, AB 1084.
Thank you. In support of the bill.
Madam Chair and members, my name is Leslie Keir. I'm a middle school art teacher and union leader at the Creative Arts Charter School in San Francisco. Our charter is affiliated with the United Educators of San Francisco. I've come here today to express my support for the educators at the California Virtual Academy, or CAVA, and their current efforts to unionize. I'm also here to ask for your support of AB 1084 to ensure that students enrolled in online for-profit charter schools receive quality educations and that public funds are properly allocated as intended by taxpayers. CAVA is a K-12 public charter school operated by a for-profit publicly traded corporation called K-12 Inc. Top administrators at K-12 Inc. receive annual salaries of $3,960,000, while the average teacher's salary at CAVA is $36,000. This kind of income disparity is increasingly found in the private sector. In the case of K-12 Inc., this inequity is realized by public funds. Few taxpayers intend their taxes to be allotted for exorbitant private gain. As a for-profit company, K-12 Inc. is driven to maximize profit, often at the expense of student learning. For example, CAVA students are counted as present for a full school day if they've been logged in for as little as 1 minute per day. This would never be acceptable at a school that was not beholden to stockholders. It's outrageous to squander public education dollars on profits for investors and executive salaries while kids are not being served in a for-profit school environment. This has been cited already, but here we go again. According to a recent article in the San Jose Mercury News entitled "California Virtual Academy, Is Online Charter Network Cashing In on Failure?" Fewer than half of the students who enroll in the online high school earn diplomas, and none of them are qualified to attend the state's public universities. These examples from CAVA demonstrate the inherent conflict of interest for charter schools that are operated as for-profit entities. Public funds should be spent on academic services, not on paying shareholders. It is my opinion that without significant structural change, these for-profit organizations will continue to use public education dollars to line the pockets of their executive officers and create dividends for shareholders at the cost of school children and their families. Please take this into consideration and join charter school educators in supporting AB 1084. I sincerely thank you for your time and attention to this.
Thank you. In support of the bill, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Ron Rapp on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers speaking in support of this bill. We need to keep public dollars in public schools, not send them to Wall Street and corporate profits. K-12 Inc. estimated their profit in 2012 at $87 million. Those are public dollars going to Wall Street. I ask that you support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Others in support?
Donna Archukovich, California State PTA, in support.
Thank you.
Laura Preston, Association of California School Administrators. We're taking a formal position of support later in this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deborah Boehm, fifth grade teacher in Riverside. California public education dollars should be going to our students and their needs and not the pockets of shareholders.
Thank you.
Dan Reynolds, English teacher in Mount Diablo Unified School District, encouraging you to vote yes on this bill.
Thank you.
Good morning, Senators. My name is Don Tarquin. I teach mathematics at University High School, the LAUSD. I urge a yes vote on 1084. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shantae Fauntleroy, I urge you to support this bill.
Thank you.
As a former student from CAVA, I support this bill.
Thank you. Okay, any others in support of the bill? Is there opposition to the bill?
Madam Chair, members, Rand Martin on behalf of the California Charter Schools Association. We are currently opposed to the current version of the bill. We have been having conversations with the author's office. First thing I would like to point out is the analysis is correct that one of the issues here is relative to oversight. There are some real problems with oversight of charter schools by some school districts, and it's an issue that must be fixed, and we appreciate the fact that the chair is holding a hearing in the first week of August to address that issue. We have, CCSA has put forward a number of proposals to fix that problem. But there is a second problem which I know this bill seeks to address, and we actually agree with the objective of the author. We think that there is a model out there that is not conducive to the best services for kids, and we think that there are fixes that can be achieved, fixes that we have shared with the committee, that we have discussed with the author, that we think make a more surgical approach to this problem. Number one, as we advocated last year with AB 787 by Mr. Hernandez, we need to make sure that there are not any for-profit charter schools operating in the state of California. We currently only find 6 among the 1,230 that currently exist, but even 6 is too many, and we'd like to put a wall up around California so that no for-profits come into California. And the way to do that is to simply say that every charter school in California must be a nonprofit, period. The second piece of this is creating a firewall between the nonprofit charter school and any for-profit vendor in which it contracts, so that there is not a de facto control of that nonprofit charter school by the for-profit entity. There are lots of good reasons why for-profits should play a legitimate and substantive role. It happens in school districts, it happens in charter schools, and that should be allowed to continue. But we should not have a for-profit operating in reality or in de facto, a sense of de facto, a charter school. We hope that if this bill does move forward, that the author will take seriously the amendments we've proposed. We do think that they are amendments that could possibly get a better reception in the governor's office than this more sweeping approach in AB 1084. And we urge you not to move the bill, but if it is going to move it, we need to consider these kinds of amendments. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair and members, on behalf of K-12 Inc., Learn for Life Charter Schools and Charter School Capital, 3 separate clients, Bronche Jones in opposition. I'll try to be brief on all of them. Some of the information that has been put before this committee is incorrect. There is no seat time that generates ADA for online charter schools. That is incorrect. It's the teacher actually has to sign off on the student's progress. That's in the education code, number one. Number two, when AB 787 was before you last year, we opposed it. We have issues with how you define operate by or as a for-profit. The legislation is not clear on that. It is vague. So we have some issues with that. In terms of clerical staff, a comment was made about CAVA's clerical staff. They're an online charter school. Of course they don't have the same number of clerical staff as a classroom-based model of instruction. Setting that aside, for all 3 of my clients, there's a legal issue that I would put before you. If you have a student that has a serious IEP, special needs student that can only be served by contracting out, this bill would prohibit that. That is a violation of federal law. We've talked to the author's staff about that. I don't know why that's in the bill, but you have to meet the student's IEP. The online charter school does not determine that. You have to meet what's in the IEP. That's federal law. For Learn for Life, they're a dropout recovery program that has 30,000 students throughout the state. Every student has an individualized learning program. They use a lot of different supplemental materials and instructional materials to meet that student's needs. Some of them are pregnant teens, some of them are dropout recovery, some of them are credit recovery, some of them are accelerated programs. This bill would bar some of the material, would prohibit them from using some of the instructional and supplemental materials they use today. They have no idea why they're even before the committee with the prohibition. They have done nothing wrong. They have been accused of no wrongdoing. Their program works fine. On behalf of Charter School Capital, they provide working capital and facility fundings for about 300 charter schools throughout the state. They have agreements that go way beyond 2017 This bill would, I assume it would prohibit those agreements. I don't know that you can violate contracts that are in existence, but this bill would do that. So for those reasons and a lot more I could talk about, all three entities that are in opposition urge you to vote against AB 1084.
Thank you.
Good morning, Senator Liu and committee members. My name is Virginia Szymanski, and I am the parent of 4 students, and I'm honored to address you today. On behalf of the tens of thousands of California families attending a public, virtual, or blended learning charter school, we respectfully oppose Assembly Bill 1084. California Parents for Public Virtual Education is a volunteer organization made up of parents with students in online public charter schools who advocate on behalf of access to online education, quality curriculum, and stable funding. California Parents for Public Virtual Education believes Assembly Bill 1084 undermines a parent's right to choice of what education options is best suited for his or her child. Recent attacks by the San Jose Mercury News and Sacramento's special interest groups are playing politics with our students. Parents are demanding that the assault on parent choice stop. Assembly Bill 1084 puts individual online charter schools at risk of closure and has the potential of displacing tens of thousands of students in California. If online charter schools are forced to close based upon Assembly Bill 1084's criteria, where will these students go? To school? How will the individual school districts address their unique learning needs? We hope you'll keep our concerns under consideration and vote no today on Assembly Bill 1084. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. My name is Tristan Brown with the California School Employees Association. Our board has not yet taken the official position, but we do have some concerns to discuss today, of which we do appreciate the author's intent here. We were sponsors of AB 787 in the last session to fight against for-profit corporations that are operating charter schools. We have some fears, though, that by only limiting this for-profit status for one type of charter school, then in the negative space almost condones it in another. And we just want to make sure that we tighten those sort of issues up as we move forward with this bill and with the author. The same thing goes for contracting out of classified employees who are left out in this equation as well. So just to repeat, we will be glad to continue to work with the author and find a way, probably not in the same manner as the Charter Schools Association as we look at some other amendments, but we'll have some ideas of our own. Thank you very much.
You really chose them this week, didn't you?
We save it all for the end.
Okay, would you like to, I'm sorry, an opposition?
Yes, Monique Ramos on behalf of California Connections Academy. We're a for-profit company that contracts with nonprofit charters, and we have some concerns around the vagueness of the contracting language. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Would you like to respond to some of the issues brought up by the
Yes, I think so. Certainly, we have been working, and this is, like you said, a very interesting situation where we actually have our, the teachers' unions and the Charter School Association both wanting to achieve the same outcome. We haven't quite figured out how to get there, but I would love the opportunity to continue to trying to achieve that goal because I think that's important. So on the issue of the, saying no for-profit in California, certainly that is something I'm very interested in doing as well. I think we could look very easily at the implementation dates when there are concerns about current contracts that we would not want to violate or not be able to violate. And also looking as we talk about that definition of instructional, what is instructional, what does that mean? Specialized services, because I do understand that there are, certain services that would be difficult to, maintain. So I would ask for your consideration of the bill and support of the bill because I think it's again, a very important discussion. It's our opportunity in the legislative branch to be in step with what is happening with the superintendent and also with the controller. And I think that with your hearing also on the horizon, it gives us an opportunity to make sure that we have an opportunity to actually take action this year on this very important issue.
Thank you.
I'd ask for your support.
Okay, questions from members. Senator Block.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm inclined to support this bill just so it can keep moving along and see where we get. I am somewhat disturbed that, and maybe I missed it, but we heard a lot about the impact of this on teachers, on Wall Street, on parent choice. I haven't heard much from either side about students in terms of performance. Do we have data that shows that students in these schools perform better or worse than their counterparts in nonprofit charter schools or in public schools? That'd be very important for me to hear. So if you've got that, I'd like to hear it.
Yes, there is that data. There's been studies done from Colorado, from Stanford, and a lot of investigative reporting data as well. And the numbers are not good. I didn't want this to turn into a student performance bill, but so I didn't touch on that. But maybe Mr. Bramble, if it's all right with the chair, could respond. But there's plenty of data that shows there's problems.
I mean, to me, all these bills are student performance bills.
Correct.
And I guess I would initially just reference some of what the San Jose Mercury News was reporting out regarding, again, California Virtual Academy, which was K-12 Inc.'s largest operation in California. CAVA's average graduation rate in 2011 was 35% and had the lowest rate of 9% at CAVA Los Angeles High School. As I said earlier, their classes have been rejected by the UC and CSU systems, meaning their students are not eligible to apply to these schools. And additionally, the NCAA will not accept their coursework. Student turnover is very excessive at those schools. There was a large report done last year by Stanford Credo that didn't focus specifically on for-profit. They focused more broadly on virtual charter schools, but had some very disturbing data. I think some of the headlines in the Washington Post said things like, it's as if kids did not attend school the entire year. In other words, they were receiving funding for the entire year and weren't making any growth at all. So again, the data here is pretty stark regarding student outcomes.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
That's I'm no longer inclined to support the bill. I'm definitely going to support the bill.
Thank you.
Unless I hear something to the contrary.
Okay, all right. Hang on. Hang on for a second, okay? One of you decide.
My client, so we dispute.
Different sides.
Yeah, we dispute those facts.
This is the opposition.
We dispute those facts, number one. Number two, I believe CAVA sent a couple dozen kids to public universities last year from their different schools, so we would dispute the UC, CSU. We provided as much information to the San Jose Mercury News, and I didn't want to go there, but we view that as more of a hit piece than a investigative piece when the reporter can't even get how you determine ADA correctly. So that's a big problem for us. So you can throw these numbers around, but there's low-performing schools in the whole state, but we're focused on one industry. And we know that our good friend from the Teachers Union has a lot of facts, but we would dispute those facts.
Thank you.
And we're willing to provide any information to the committee that you would like to see.
Thank you. Okay, Senator Huff?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I guess I'm concerned about this one-size-fits-all, or that somehow for-profit is evil. You know, for me, it's the outcomes. Doesn't matter whether they're for-profit or nonprofit. Is it benefiting the students? I had the privilege of touring a Learn for Life charter school that these kids only spend 1 day per week in the classroom. And it's a non-traditional classroom. They're in industrial centers that are, you know, a huge room. They set it up to their own standards, but they have tremendous outcomes. And I was privileged to be there while they were ringing a bell because some kid had just gotten the coursework to graduate. They graduate throughout the year. It's not any set time, but it adapts to their schedules because traditional schools have failed them. These are kids that are typically in we call continuation school, or they're pregnant, they're, just don't fit in the normal classroom. But because of the flexibility and the superiority, I believe, of their training and everything, and they have certificated teachers there, so it's not that, they have an excellent program. So I'm concerned that we just somehow, for-profit is evil and nonprofit is good, when it can be just the inverse of that as well. So if you have any comments on that, I'd love to hear it.
Assembly member?
Well, I think that it is about the performance issue, and we know from the National Education Policy Foundation that has issued a number of reports, they have found that half of online charter school students are not proficient in reading, and 2/3 are not proficient in math. And that is a very serious concern. So this is a national issue. If you want, we could provide you with all of the studies that have happened across the nation. And I'm not saying that having flexibility or having online education is bad. I think that when there's a motive that can trump the goal of student performance and education, then we do have a problem. But I am a proponent of a lot of different flexible learning styles, and I homeschooled my own kids for a few years, and I've been in a lot of different educational settings, and it really is this issue of what has been exposed, and I think what we're going to continue to see exposed throughout this summer of abuses and performance that is not good for the students of California, and I hope that we'll be posed to take action.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members? All right, seeing none. My reservation, I don't have, we let this bill out, a similar bill out last year, the Hernandez bill out last year, and I understand the impetus, and you're trying to focus where the governor made the veto on the Hernandez bill. But because the committee is going to have an informational hearing on charter schools that will be much more comprehensive in August, I'm uncomfortable about supporting your bill today, because there's going to be a couple of audits, and hopefully some of those reports will be ready in August. And I know the timing is bad, because all of us are leaving at the end of August, and it just doesn't seem to be enough time. But anyway, I am going to withhold my support of your bill, even though it will be included as a topic for the meeting in August, and I hope that there will be, everybody interested in this topic will provide some input into this, the making of our agenda. So, but I'm not going to prevent members who feel the passion to let the bill out today.
I would like to move the bill.
The bill has been moved. Okay. Any other conversation or comment? Okay.
Can I just...
You should close.
I would appreciate the opportunity to be able to have continued discussions in the month of July. I think the bill can be informed by the hearing that you have. And I believe that when you have the Charter School Association, who does not want to see for-profit charter schools in the state of California, and you have the California Teachers Association not wanting to see for-profit charter schools in California, that we've got the beginning of buy-in. So I would love to see in July if we can achieve buy-in and work towards a goal that would really solve what I believe is it's not a pending issue. We know this is upon us, but it would be an opportunity for a solution this year. Thank you. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Item number 5, AB 1084. The motion is due pass to the floor. Lou?
Not voting.
Block? Block aye. Hancock? Aye. Hancock aye. Huff? No. Huff no. Leyva? Aye. Leyva aye. Mendoza? Monning? Pan? Aye. Pan aye. Vidak? No. Vidak no. It's 4-2.
4-2. We'll leave the roll open for absent members.
Thank you.
Good. You have one more bill, item 14, AB 1823.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the committee for their thoughtful analysis of AB 1823, and I will be accepting the committee's suggested clarifying amendment. I present you AB 1823, which establishes the Cancer Clinical Trials Program to increase access to cancer clinical trials for all patients, especially women and underrepresented communities. Currently, less than 5% of eligible cancer patients participate in clinical trials in California. Less than 5% of Californians participate in cancer clinical trials. And of those, of that 5%, only 5% of the participants are from underrepresented communities. This means a majority of California cancer patients do not have access to potentially life-saving trials. The low participation also impacts the researchers' ability to develop and evaluate effective, innovative treatments for the varying genetic makeup of women, men, and diverse racial and ethnic groups. Economic factors, ancillary costs, lack of awareness of available trials, mistrust of the medical system have all been barriers to participants in trials. AB 1823 targets the barriers through a privately funded grant program administered by the University of California. This grant program would provide funds to applicants for activities which would reduce the barriers to clinical trials. Activities such as patient navigation programs, physician education, community outreach, travel costs for participants and their caregivers when they cannot afford it, and patient-friendly IT tools to assist patients in identifying available drug trials. Through the program, California will be able to leverage private funding sources to help more Californians access cutting-edge treatment. AB 1823 is an innovative approach to address these barriers to patient participation in the trials, and I do ask for your aye vote. Today, I have with me today Janet Lopez from the University of Southern California and Angela Gilliard representing the University of California.
Thank you. Are you going to accept the amendments?
Yes.
And there's support on both sides, so we can be brief.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. My name is Angela Gilliard, and I represent the University of California. The goal of the California Cancer Clinical Trials Program aligns with UC's mission of public service. UC is establishing a board to administer this program. Just to give you a brief background, according to a recent study, projected cases of all invasive cancers in the United States are expected to increase by 2030. The increase in incidences of cancer will be higher in non-white populations. Diverse patient participation in cancer clinical trials depends in part on whether participants can afford ancillary costs. This bill, the program that the university will administer will be effective, we believe, and we support this bill.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members. Janet Lopez representing the University of Southern California. The USC Norris Comprehensive Cancer Center focuses on testing new therapies for cancer, optimizing existing treatments, discovering prevention methods, and developing ways to improve the quality of life. We are designated by the National Cancer Institute as one of the nation's 41 comprehensive cancer centers in providing leadership in cancer treatment, research, prevention, and education. We believe AB 1823 increases access to clinical trials by creating a privately funded grant program to connect patients with the appropriate clinical trial. For that reason, we support and we urge your support as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions from members? Senator Pan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank the author for this bill. Our ability to actually get more effective treatments and eventually cure for cancer, and we know it's a multifaceted disease, not one disease, depends on participation of people in clinical trials. So anything we can do to facilitate more people participating will expand our knowledge base to get there more rapidly. So I urge support for the bill, and I'll move the bill.
Thank you very much. The bill has been moved. Any other questions from members? Would you like to close, Assembly Member?
Ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Let's call the roll.
Item number 14, AB 1823. The motion is due pass as amended to appropriations. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Block? Block, aye. Hancock? Hancock, aye. Huff? Huff, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Monning? Pan? Aye. Pan, aye. Vidak?
Aye.
Vidak, aye.
Okay, 7 votes, enough for passage. We'll keep the roll open for our absent members. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the lovely morning we spent together.
Oh, I know. Thank you very much. Assemblymember Medina, you have one item, item 12, AB 1721, and as he is coming up, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent. Thank you. There are 4 items on consent this morning, and they are item 2, AB 735, item 9, AB 1639, item 18, AB 2137, and item 27, AB 2826. Thank you. Let's call the roll.
Blue?
Aye.
Blue, aye. Block? Block, aye. Hancock? Aye. Hancock, aye. Huff? Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Monning? Pan? Aye. Pan, aye. Vidak?
Aye.
Vidak, aye. That's 6.
6 votes. We'll keep the roll open for our absent members. Okay. So, item 12. There is support on both sides, so as quickly as you can. We'll keep it brief. Thank you. Welcome.
Madam Chair and Senators, I am pleased to present AB 1721, which reforms the Cal Grant program to increase access to college education for economically disadvantaged students. Specifically, AB 1721 does 2 things. First, it increases the number of competitive Cal Grants from 25,750 to 34,000. Second, it expands the numbers of these awards available and reserved for community college students, 19,000 for community college students and 15,000 for all students, including community college students. I look forward to working on expanding access to college for all California students and believe this bill is a step in the right direction. With me today to testify in support are representatives from the California Community College League and the California Community College Chancellor's Office.
Thank you. In support of the bill, please.
Good morning, Senator Liu and members of the committee. My name is Rosa Deanda, and I'm here with the California Community College Chancellor's Office. We are one of the sponsors of AB 1721. We believe the bill is an important investment in higher education. It would increase the number of competitive Cal Grant B awards for students and enable more community college students to attend college full-time and focus their time and energy on achieving their educational and career goals. Of the 8,250 additional awards proposed by the bill, more than half would go to community college students. For career technical education students in particular, the Cal Grant B Award is very important because it provides $1,656 as opposed to the $547 provided by Cal Grant C for access costs such as housing, food, transportation, and all of those costs can be barriers for students. For all these reasons, I respectfully urge the committee to support AB 1721.
Thank you very much. In support of the bill.
Brian McElhaney, Youth Community College League of California, representing California's 72 community college districts, also a sponsor of this measure for the reasons previously stated. If this bill were to be enacted, there would be 34,000 competitive grants with 300,000 qualified applicants, making that an acceptance rate of 11%, which is more difficult, an acceptance rate that's lower than UC Berkeley's or UCLA's. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. In support of the bill.
Thank you, Mark McDonald, McCallum Group, on behalf of the Foothill, De Anza, San Diego, Kern, South Orange County, and Los Rios Community College Districts in support.
Thank you. Okay, hang on for a second, okay? We still have people up here on the dais. Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Brandon Biggert. I'm representing the California Student Aid Commission. For all the reasons that they stated, we support this legislation. There's an eligibility pool of over 300,000 students every year and only 25,750 grants available to this eligibility pool. And this bill takes us one step farther towards meeting that unmet need in California. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please.
Sarah Arce on behalf of the Campaign for College Opportunity and Support.
Thank you.
Ashley Walker with Nossaman on behalf of North Orange County Community College District in support.
Thank you.
Cynthia Valdivia on behalf of the Mexican American Legal Defense and Education Fund in support.
Thank you.
Matthew Canty with the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges in support.
Thanks.
Rebecca Gonzalez, National Association of Social Workers, California Chapter in support.
Thank you.
Don Conley with the University of California Student Association in support.
Thank you.
Manny Diaz representing the San Jose Evergreen Community College District in support.
Thank you.
Kevin Schromer on behalf of the Compton Unified School District in support.
Thank you.
Marty Fisher, California Chamber of Commerce, in support.
Thank you.
Jesse Foster, California Community College Association of Student Trustees, and the Student Senate for California Community College Region 2 support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Hilton, American River College Student Senate President, and I am in support.
Thank you.
Dean Murakami with the California Federation of Teachers, strong support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Leangela Reed on behalf of the Western Association for College Admission Counseling, in support.
Thank you.
Alex Galeano, Student Senate for the California Community Colleges, very strong support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Courtney Cooper, Student Senate for California Community Colleges and Foothill College Trustee, strong support.
Thanks.
Katie Miller, student at Berkeley City College, also with the Student Senate for California Community Colleges, and I also support.
Thanks.
Tabitha Romero, Los Medanos College, also a part of the Student Senate of California Community Colleges, I support.
Thank you.
Angela Toledo from Student Senate of California Community Colleges and Associated Students of Las Positas and Chabot College, in support.
Thank you. Any others in support of the bill? Is there opposition? The committee didn't receive anything in writing opposing the bill. Are there any questions from members? This bill has support on both sides. Bill has been moved, and Senator Block, you have a question.
Yeah, just a comment. I think this is great public policy, and I will support it in a policy committee. The key, of course, is going to be to have it funded. And as chair of Budget Sub 1 in the Senate this year, I wish we could have funded it this year, and hopefully next year the Senate and Assembly will both fund this bill.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. The bill has been moved. No other questions? Would you like to close?
Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Let's call the roll.
Item 12, AB 1721, the motion is due pass to appropriations. Liu?
Aye.
Liu, aye. Block? Aye. Block, aye. Hancock? Aye. Hancock, aye. Huff? Huff, aye. Leyva? Aye. Leyva, aye. Mendoza? Moning? Pan?
Aye.
Pan, aye. Vidak?
Aye.
Vidak, aye. 7.
7 votes, sufficient for passage. We'll keep the roll open for our absent members.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assemblymember Weber. Great. Just one bill? You have one item, item 242548.